If you're a commission salon or spa owner working nonstop, barely paying yourself, and wondering how in the heck this became your life, you need a serious upgrade. Welcome to the station. Hey friends, welcome back to the station, the podcast for salon and spa owners who are tired of guessing why the books aren't full and ready to actually fix what's broken in their business. I'm Bree, founder of the Beauty Biz Agency, and as always, I've got my co-founder, co-host, and bestie here with me today. Hey girl, what's up?
Hello. Not much, just staying busy.
I feel ya. Today has been a busy one for sure. Well, are you ready to dig into the real reason that client flow is off?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. The truth is, most owners think that they have a marketing problem when the books aren't full. But 9 times out of 10, the real breakdown is way deeper than that. You might be showing up online every day. You might be running offers, asking for referrals, doing all the things. But if your guests aren't rebooking, if your team has skill gaps or maybe mindset issues, if your guest journey is inconsistent or it's forgettable, then no amount of posting is going to fix that. No amount of spending on an ad is going to fix that. It's just not. So today we are going to break down the 4 most common reasons salons struggle to get and keep new clients and how to figure out which one is really holding you back. So before we break each of those down, you know Chandra and I love to rave about our BBA members. So I want to talk about one real quick. A few months back, one of our members joined her one-on-one call and she was just completely frustrated. She said, Bree, Chandra, I don't get it. We are posting consistently. We're running referral offers. We are showing up online every single day. But the new clients, they're just not sticking. I feel like we're doing everything right, but still not growing. At first glance, it sounded like a marketing issue because a lot of times it does. But when Chandra and I got to looking deeper, it wasn't about visibility at all. It was about what happened after the guest actually booked. There was no mapped out consultation process, no structure at the checkout. Nobody was talking to the guest about retail or asking them to rebook. There was no follow-up, no systems. The guests were coming in, but they were never coming back. So we got to work right away. We built out a full client experience journey from the booking confirmation to the follow-up text to the next visit, really just all the way through. We trained the team on how to lead a consultation, how to close it with confidence, and how to deliver an experience that made the guests feel seen and valued. Within 30 days, I'm not kidding you, 30 days, not only did her rebook rate climb by 40%, but her retention of new guests, it doubled. And the best part, she didn't have to go out and spend thousands on marketing every single month. She was already bringing people in. She just needed a system to keep them there. Chandra, this happens so often. Salon owners feel like they have a client attraction problem, but it's really a client retention problem that's kind of in disguise. Why do you think the experience gets overlooked so much when people are focused on growth?
I think they just don't focus on the things that are important. They're too busy focusing on, trying to keep the doors open, trying to get new clients in, trying to build this new stylist or trying to do all these things. And they forget kind of about some of the most important things that are actually going to drive growth. And I just think it gets overlooked. Do you think that's not really that big of a deal, or you guys are doing a good enough job and you just kind of forget to dive into some of those areas?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's so hard because we see all of these things, right? Social media, everywhere we go, we're like, oh, we can bring you in 50 new clients or this many new clients or whatever. And so it's so easy to hop on that bandwagon and just think, quick fix, right? But then the second that we stop growing or the second that we're not getting those new clients, what do we want to do? We want to blame the marketing company when realistically, if they brought us those clients and we didn't retain them, that's our problem, not theirs. Yeah. All right, so let's break these areas down really quickly. The first one that we have to start with is mindset. And I know people are probably going to roll their eyes, but it's so true. Because if this piece isn't right, none of the strategy that you have matters at all. If you have a team full of stylists who believe that nobody's booking, that belief is going to show up everywhere. They are going to stop posting. They're going to stop asking for the rebook. They are going to assume the slow days are just kind of how it is right now. And if you, as the owner, start to buy into that as well, your leadership energy is going to start to drop and your team is going to match that. You have to be the one that holds the belief, even when it's slow. And trust us, guys, we know how hard that is. But when you believe clients are out there, you have to act like it. And when you start doing that, your team is going to do that too. Chandra, what is something simple that an owner can say just to help shift the mindset in their studio when things maybe feel slow, but they don't want to feed that negativity?
Yeah, I mean, I think really just, talking to your team about there are plenty of people out there. So let's, come up with some ways to put people in our chair, try to keep them excited, trying to keep them trying new things and doing new things. And you're going to get shot down sometimes, but you're going to get some people to say yes, And so I think really trying to get them to stay motivated by working with them and letting them know like this will work. Let's just keep doing it because it will if you keep at it. But they get frustrated super fast. They get shot down once or twice, and then they just don't ever want to try again. And that's just the nature of it. But it will work eventually if you keep that consistency.
Absolutely. 100%. The second thing that causes client drop off is the guest experience. And this one really shows up a lot. A salon will be bringing in new clients, but they're not staying. And it's not because the service was bad necessarily. Maybe it's because the experience wasn't strong enough to make them want to come back. There was no follow-up. The consultation felt rushed or pressured. No one walked them to retail and explained to them why they need this. The checkout felt very transactional. And let's be honest, people are never going to remember average. They're just not. They remember how you made them feel. The little things matter so much. Your guest journey, it has to be intentional from start to finish, or you are going to continue losing people after the first visit. Chandra, you and I just dealt with this with one of our BBA members. When you think about building guest loyalty, what's one touch point you think salons probably overlook the most?
I mean, I just think that experience overall is kind of the biggest touch point. And there's a lot of little touch points in that. But I do think just, if, like you said, if it's not memorable, they're not going to go out and talk about you. They're not going to remember to come back later. There's so much competition out there. So you have to do things that are going to set you apart and build that trust and that consistency. And I think that experience really, is full circle with all the different touch points as far as, how they're greeted when they come in, how they're treated in the chair, what kind of service they're getting. Like everything kind of has to come full circle, I think, in order for that experience to really be amazing. And I think everybody thinks they're giving a good experience. I feel like when we talk to people, we're like, well, how does your service, your guest experience, your client experience? And they're always like, oh, it's great. And then we dive in and we're like, it's not really that great. And that's why you're losing clients. So I think that's a big, big reason why, people don't pay attention to that too, because they think, oh, we're doing a good job already. Everybody loves us. And it's like, no, maybe not.
I agree with that 100%. I think you and I have talked about this before, but I think one of the best things to do is actually go through your experience from a client standpoint or bring in a secret shopper for that, right? Like have somebody go in and kind of record. Maybe they can pretend that they're a vlogger or blogger or whatever it is and kind of do that through the process so that you can actually see things. It will tell you a lot about what your team is doing. I know you've kind of done some things like that. I've done things like that. And it is extremely eye-opening, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think we partner with a salon owner I know near us, and we'll randomly send team members to each other's salons to secret shop. And it's really funny because they don't know the other people that work there. And so it's very eye-opening. I mean, there's stuff that I'm like, oh, we kill it in this. And then I talk to him and he's like, no, they didn't do that. And I'm like, oh my God, they're supposed to do that. And vice versa. It happens with his team sometimes too. So I think it's a great thing to do, even if it's not anybody in the industry, just anybody you trust and sending them in and doing that. It helps us a ton.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that we've done for the last decade too, is I always send especially new employees to get a service done because They get to see why it matters so much, why our processes matter so much. But if you aren't using things like this to create your guest experience, you are really, really missing out. I can tell you that from firsthand, like really missing out. Okay, the third area is technical skill. So let's talk about this one because this is one of those areas that's really, really easy to ignore until the damage is already done. You can have the most beautiful space there is, a great team dynamic, and the best marketing that you could ever even think of. But if the service doesn't meet the guest expectations, they're not coming back, period. This isn't just about whether someone can do hair. It's about all of the details, right? Are clients leaving glowing reviews that speak to the experience and the results? Because if your technical skill is there, that's going to happen. Are you starting to see more redo requests that are creeping in? If you see that, you have a technical skill issue. Is your team confident in all of the latest trends, or are they stuck doing the same things that they've been doing for the last 5 years? We all have some of those employees that are like, I learned this 2 decades ago. This is the way that I'm doing it. And that can't happen in this day and age. Let's be honest, ongoing education, it's usually one of the first things to get pushed to the back burner when a salon gets really busy or the owner gets overwhelmed. But that's exactly when your team needs it the most. Because if they are busy, if things are crazy in there, they are going to start slacking if you're not careful. So you really have to keep them, on their toes. When we stop learning, we stop growing. And when your team stops growing, your client retention is going to drop. It's not about calling your teammates out. It's about checking in. It's about setting standards. It's about making sure your team, they have what they need to deliver the kind of service that's actually going to keep people coming back month after month, quarter after quarter, whatever it is. Chandra, how can an owner bring up skills gaps with their team in a way that is going to build trust instead of tearing them down? Because leadership is so important when this becomes a topic of conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really building a culture of continuous learning and education in your salon, like where your team all knows, like we're all going to be continually learning. It doesn't matter what level we're at, and it doesn't matter if we're new. And then I think really having those conversations with your team. I just had this with one of my team members the other day because we're really working on getting her service timing down, and she's struggling a lot with that. And so, what she's doing isn't wrong, right? Like she's getting from A to B and the hair's looking great. But at the same time, it's taking way too long. There's way too much involved. It doesn't make a lot of sense, her process. Like she's getting there, but the process doesn't make a lot of sense. So we had to really have that conversation, but she knows, like, I'm not trying to be mean to her, right? Like it's about growth. Like I want to see her make more money. I want to see her be able to get more clients in her chair. I want to see her retain more clients because her timing is shorter. Clients can't spend 6 hours in the chair all the time. So people are losing clients for those reasons. And I think if you can create that culture in your salon where it is continuous learning and education driven, then you can have those conversations with them without them having a meltdown and without them freaking out or feeling like you're being mean or think they don't know what they're doing, because there's 500 different ways to get to the same end result. But there's only going to be a few ways to get there that are going to be really efficient and really good. And so I think training them on those things and keeping that open communication to where they feel like that this is part of what we do here instead of it being anything negative.
Absolutely. I also think when we talk about skill set, we need to look at it from an owner's perspective in 2 different areas, right? Skill set as in their technical skill in everything that they do. But I think communication is a skill set on its own. You just said that opening conversation with your employees, but I think their skill set when it comes to communication is really important as well, right? Are they talking about things the way that they are supposed to and the way that they need to in order to grow their client base, in order to make as much money as possible, in order to sell that retailer, that upseller, that add-on? That is huge. And I think that gets missed when we talk about skill set a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Finally, yes, sometimes it really is your marketing. But here's what we see a lot of times. The marketing maybe isn't missing. It's just not working. Some owners are showing up online consistently, but the message is very unclear. It's very inconsistent. Others are relying heavily, and when I say that, I mean heavily, on paid ads or marketing companies. They are spending thousands of dollars a month, but they're not ever seeing a return on it at all. So let's break this down really, really quickly. Organic marketing, that's the stuff that you and your team are doing for free. It still matters. What's being posted? What's being created? Who's creating it? Are your visuals aligned with the type of guest that you want to attract? Are your captions actually speaking to that ideal client, that dream client, or are they just kind of taking up space over there? Then there's your paid marketing. And this is where things get really sticky, because if you're spending money to drive traffic, but you have no tracking in place, no follow-up, no consultation system, and no data to tell you where these people are actually coming from, then you're probably wasting money. We have had owners come to us after spending a ridiculous amount of money with marketing companies and not gaining a single long-term client from it. You cannot just throw money at ads and hope for the best. If the back end isn't built to support the flow, the front end push is never going to fix this. Chandra, if someone's been spending on paid marketing, but they aren't really seeing the results that they want to see, what is the first thing that you would tell them to check before just throwing more money at it?
I mean, I would definitely check my client retention. I mean, that would be the first thing I would check just in general. Like if you don't know where that money's coming from, like, are you even retaining a high percentage of the new clients that are coming in? And then I would start looking into what are these people marketing if you feel like you're not getting the right clients or the right return or the right things from all the marketing you're doing before you spend more money. Make sure it's targeted to what you're actually trying to reach. Because sometimes I think there's a big disconnect there. They may just throw up ads for you, but they're not actually invested enough in your business to know what you're really looking for and what you're really trying to bring in. And so it could be a huge waste of money. But again, I think everything kind of goes back to that client retention. If you're not retaining a high percentage of those high clients, it doesn't really matter where they're coming from. There's other problems.
Yeah, I know you and I have actually laughed about this, probably cried about it together as well. You know, we have spent a ton of money on paid marketing, and when we go to them to try to fix something, they're like, oh, just you need to spend more per day on ads. And realistically, that is probably one of the worst mistakes you can make. Listen to Chandra, check your guest experience first, make sure everything's good, and then move on from there. 100%. Okay, so now that we've kind of walked through the four most common breakdowns, let's talk about how you can actually figure out which one is affecting your business. Step one, always look at your numbers, because numbers do not lie. What does your new guest count look like over the last 30, 60, 90 days? What's your new guest retention rate? How many first-time guests are actually rebooking? Are your stylists hitting their benchmarks, or are they falling short consistently? If you are not tracking this stuff, that's your first problem. Because if you don't know what's really happening behind the scenes, you are going to keep spinning in circles trying to fix the wrong thing. Chandra, why is tracking this so very important?
Oh my gosh, if you're not tracking, like you just said, I mean, you have no idea what's happening in your business. You don't know if the money you're spending on marketing is working. You don't know if you have a bad guest experience. You don't know like anything that's going on if you're not paying attention to all of those numbers and those metrics.
Yep. All right. Step number 2, audit your guest experience from start to finish. Mystery shop your own business. Seriously, do it. Find somebody. Go through the booking process as if you were a client. Was it smooth? Did it take too many steps? What happens when someone checks in? Are they greeted by name? Is the consultation consistent? Is it thorough? Does checkout include like a rebook ask or a product recommendation? Most of the time, like we've said, the issue isn't getting guests through the door. It's that the visit didn't make them want to come back. Step number 3, check your team's skill set. You need to be looking at your reviews, Google, Yelp, DMs, wherever guests are leaving feedback. What are they saying? Are they naming stylists? Are they raving about the service? Is the feedback quiet? Is it vague? Is it pointing to inconsistency? Look at those redo requests, right? Missed expectations, silent reviews. All of those things often means that there is a skill gap, and that gap needs to be addressed before it becomes a real retention issue. So ask yourself, are the results consistent across the entire team, or are a few stylists slammed while others who aren't new are wide open. If so, that is a red flag. Very, very big red flag. All right, next, listen to the energy and mindset in your building. Pay attention to the conversations that are happening in the break room, AKA broke room. If you're hearing things like nobody's booking or it's just slow right now, that mindset is going to be bleeding into your culture and into the client experience. It matters what your team believes, and it matters that you believe it as well. Are you still leading with clarity and confidence, or have you slowly fallen into that survival mode without even realizing it? Step number 5, review your organic and paid marketing together. Pull your marketing efforts from the last month at least. What was posted? Who created the content? Was it aligned with that ideal client? All of the things that we said, because that is very, very important. It's about slowing down long enough to find the real breakdown and then focusing your energy where it actually counts. Chandra, once a salon owner really identifies where that breakdown is, whether it's in the mindset, the guest experience, the skill set, the marketing, what do you think the first move should be for them to make without kind of overwhelming themselves or their team?
Well, I think once you really know, kind of maybe the first hole that you have, whatever that first leak looks like, then you can start, doing things that are going to fix that, so really start analyzing it. Like, if it's my guest experience, then I'm going to start analyzing that. What's missing from this? Why does this not seem to be working? What do I need to do with my team? What do I need to train? Like, focusing on just one or two, because more than likely there's probably a couple of those things that are happening. And so really pinpointing down what's the most important thing that is that leak, and then really starting to sort of, patch the leak. Like, why is this not working? What's going on? What is it from that client's perspective that they're not getting here? Because there's something if you're not retaining them.
Definitely. Okay, let's shift gears and get into this week's listener question. This one came in from Amanda in Tennessee, and she asked, how do you handle it when a stylist gets really close with their clients, like too close? I'm all about connection, but lately it feels like some boundaries may be getting crossed. Clients are texting after hours, they're showing up early, they're even expecting special treatment. Where do you draw the line without making it awkward? All right, I have seen this play out way too many times to count, and I think you're right for paying attention to this. This is important. Look, we all want our team to build amazing relationships with their clients. That's part of what keeps people coming back. But when the lines get too blurry, it kind of turns into entitlement if we're not careful. And the stylists, they don't always see that it's happening because it started out feeling maybe a little like loyalty. But here's what I would say. Connection is great, but access is different. The client should love their stylist 100%. They should trust them, but they shouldn't feel like they can text them at 11 o'clock at night or show up early and hang out in the break room with them or expect special treatment every time they're in the chair. That is not connection. That is more like codependency. And it is going to drain your employees. It is going to throw off the flow in your studio. And it's going to set a tone that's really hard to undo once it's been going on for a while. So what I would do is address it like immediately and directly with the stylist, not in a you're doing something wrong way, but more like, hey, I've noticed a few things lately with client so-and-so. She's texting me late, blah, 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 blah. She's expecting a lot, right? I know it's coming from a place of connection, but I want to make sure that you feel like you have clear boundaries and support from me when things start getting just maybe a little too casual. That way you're not scolding, you're not getting on, you're actually coaching, guiding, and caring. And then I would revisit the studio boundaries as a whole. You need to have written policies in place for all of this and make sure that everything is clear and direct without making it weird. One more thing, your team watches how you handle this stuff. So when you model clear boundaries, right? When you show up with policies that are going to protect your employees and your brand, they will start doing the same and following you. Chandra, what is something that you've coached an owner to say when a stylist is maybe scared to hold that line because they don't want to lose the client?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I would say to someone that we're coaching, but also how I handle it myself in my own salon. And that for me, it's a level of professionalism as well. And so I always tell all my team, you need to be, in a way, like you're the professional in this situation. And when you cross that line, you lose that professionalism. They don't look at you in that same light anymore. They don't trust you in that same way anymore. So it becomes more of a friendly relationship than it does that sort of professional client relationship. And so they really see that. Like, we've even gotten our team to where now clients will try. They will not give out their phone numbers because they know I've been doing hair for 25 years. None of my clients had my phone number. Like, I always kept that professional line in the sand. And so they do the same thing, and they'll even direct them. If clients reach out to them on Instagram, they will literally message back and say, hey, you got to reach out to the desk. I can't do that. I don't have access to that. Or they say things like that so that they're not making the client feel like they don't want to do that for them, but that they can't answer them right now because they're not in charge of the books or the desk or whatever that looks like. And so really having them directed back to somewhere else. But we really stress that professional line because you need to be respected as the service provider. And I think that's where a lot of our industry loses some of that respect because stylists don't know how to put that line in the sand. And then clients think they can just do whatever they want and have control over you 24/7, which makes me crazy. I wouldn't want that. And so that's kind of, the advice I would give, like really make sure that they understand that that's a level of professionalism that you want to keep and you don't want to lose that.
Yeah, I mean, we always say at BBA, you can be friendly with your clients, but you can't be friends with them, or you shouldn't be. And besides, like, that is a perk of working in a commission salon. You don't have to deal with that crap, right? That's the front desk. That's the salon's job to deal with the client communication and all of that stuff. So to me, that's a huge perk. If I was working and doing hair still, I would want to just go to work and go home and not deal with any of it.
Yep.
All right. So here's what we want you guys to walk away from this episode with. If your client numbers are off, don't just automatically assume that it's your marketing. That's the obvious answer maybe, but it's rarely the full story. Sometimes it is the guest experience, the skill set, the mindset. And yes, every once in a while it's your marketing, but only if everything else underneath it is solid. That's the only time the marketing really comes into play. So if you are in a season where things feel off and you're not sure where the drop off is or where it's happening, just pause, pull back, and walk through the steps that we talked about. Be honest about what's working and not working, because until you're honest, you're never going to be able to fix it. Once you find the real problem, you are going to stop wasting energy trying to fix the wrong thing and finally start gaining some traction. And if you guys want support with that, or you are ready to build a salon that runs strong without running you ragged, we've got your back. Head to www.thebeautybizagency.com and check out some of our coaching options. Also, grab some of our amazing free resources while you're there. We can help you lead better, hire smarter, and grow faster with structure that actually sticks. Chandra, how can our listeners stay connected with us and keep up with everything we've got going on at the Beauty Biz Agency?
Yeah, reach out to us on social media, the Beauty Biz Agency on Instagram or Facebook. You can also reach out to us at the Beauty Biz Mentors on TikTok. We do Facebook Live the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. Central Time. So definitely hop on there and we can answer any questions for you and just kind of be part of our community. It would be an amazing experience for you. I guarantee it. So definitely reach out to us and follow us. We're here.
Yes, we are. We are here. All right, guys, make sure that if this episode helped you see your business more clearly, that you share it with another salon owner who needs to hear it. Make sure you're following the show so you never miss an episode. And if you've got a second, leave us a review. That's how we reach more beauty pros who are ready to stop surviving and start leading like real CEOs. You've been listening to The Station, the podcast where salon owners stop spinning and start scaling with strategy. Until next time, stay focused, stay fierce, and remember, your growth isn't stuck. You just need to look in the right place. Now go out there, make bank, run the show, and ditch that chair. And as always, keep slaying those business goals with a whole lot of swagger.